You ever have those moments in life, like especially back in the day when CDs were kind of the main ways that people consumed music, and like there was a second album from one of your favorite artists, and you were listening to it, and you like kept waiting for the thing to happen, like you kept waiting for that like musical moment to happen that you expect from that artist, and you kept waiting for that like magical moment to occur. You're like, okay, yeah, where is it? Also, more specifically, maybe even like with your favorite stand-up comedians. Like one of my favorite stand-up comedians is Brian Regan, and sometimes I've been like, well, way back in the day, I was like listening to one of his albums, and I would kept waiting for like the joke to land. You know what I'm saying? Like that one singular joke to hit that just made me like burst out laughing, rolling around on the floor like I've come to expect from him and I know and love. Um, and those moments usually happened because Brian Regan is a genius. And so when I watched this trailer for the Odyssey, the most anticipated movie of probably the past 5 to 10 years, maybe from the legendary Christopher Nolan, I was watching this trailer, and this is the official new trailer as the Universal Pictures YouTube channel puts it out. I kept waiting for the thing. I kept waiting for that moment in the trailer to be like, whoa, like the Dark Knight trailer when they revealed Heath Ledger as the Joker, with the and he's like, to them you're just a freak like me, and then they, reveal him like looking up at the camera with all of his clown makeup and everything. Like that was the moment, you're like, whoa, like this is gonna be a movie, like this is gonna be an experience, and I just kept waiting for that moment with this trailer, and it never really came. So that was one of my complaints. Another one of my complaints was the dialogue. Now, at first, I thought that I was just being nitpicky. At first, I thought that the movie critic in my head was just kind of like going into overdrive because Tom Holland's character, Ulysses' son, says, "My dad is coming home." And I was like, my dad? Like, it's not 2026. Like, the Odyssey was written, I don't even know how long ago, a long time ago. And no one said dad. Like, you couldn't have just tweaked it a little bit to say father to like keep that immersion. And then Matt Damon, our hero of the movie, is leading a charge of soldiers, and he says, "Let's go." Like you're not Tom Brady, okay? Like you didn't just get a touchdown. Let's go! Like you couldn't have even said something a little less cheesy like charge. So my nitpicks were actually justified when I scrolled down to the comments and saw that the majority of the comments were criticizing this dialogue by saying like, my dad? Like what century are we in? And like, let's go. It was just, and even Robert Pattinson's character, who's the villain of the story, says the word daddy. Like he says, you're pining after a daddy or something like that. As usual with most Christopher Nolan movies, it was kind of hard to tell because like the dialogue was all muffled. There was even a scene where a guy's laying on the bed, like in the trailer for The Dark Knight Rises. I don't know if you guys remember that one, where Commissioner Gordon is lying on the bed and like you cannot understand a single word because it's just this like typical Christopher Nolan stuff of like, like even Bane is easier to understand than Nolan muffled dialogue. So yeah, that was interesting. It's kind of amazing for me to even say this because you would think that Christopher Nolan is basically flawless at this point. Maybe there have been like little cracks in the armor that we've seen over the years, like with The Dark Knight Rises, like Bane dying so, spoiler alert, Bane dying so completely unceremoniously, or his daughter just kind of like a light switch turning off when she dies too, or like the ultra cheesy pandering flashbacks in that movie. And like I mentioned in one of my previous reviews on the teaser trailer, sometimes expectations are just too high, and no human in the entire world could ever top them. Like when The Phantom Menace was coming out, there is no way that George Lucas or anyone in his surrounding team could have even met the expectations of that fan base, especially in a pre-internet age when the culture was much more monogamous and the entire cultural focus was so much more centralized. Now we have the internet and we can basically choose whatever it is that we want to be interested in. But back in 1999, if a new Star Wars movie was coming out, that was on the news, and like, not that movies aren't on the news anymore, but like that was the talk of the town. Like, your community was much more involved in the culture as it is now. Now there's far more subsections, and people have their own interests, and if they're not interested in a movie, they're not going to see it, or if they're not interested in a celebrity, they're not going to be involved in it. So there's just no way that the expectations can be met. Or I should say, there's no way the expectations can be exceeded with this movie, because I think the expectations can at least be met. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan, genius director, basically flawless track record, an ensemble cast, etc., etc., etc. So that is just a little bit of playing of devil's advocate in this sense. But I really hope that Nolan is not losing his touch, because the trailer, I'm not going to go so far as to say it was boring, but it definitely was underwhelming. Like, this seems like the perfect recipe of director, cast, and subject matter, and it just kind of fell flat. So, disappointing. I remain faithful. I remain hopeful, because, as I've said ad infinitum, we all know who's behind it. We all know who's behind the project. We all know the actors that are behind it. It's just that the way that it's all coming together seems kind of weak. It seems like it should be much more epic, because it is quite literally the archetypal epic than it already is. And this dialogue, hopefully whoever is behind this team of filmmakers has a small hand on the pulse of the general public and can say, okay, yeah, why are we using the word dad and daddy and let's go in this film that's supposed to be very immersive in this archetypal epic? So I don't know. It happened with Sonic back in 2019. Perhaps it can happen with this one. So what did you guys think about the new trailer, or whatever your thoughts are? I would love to hear them. Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much, everyone, for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next cinematic adventure.